Simon, I want to put this to you. It's a Manchester United theme.
Yeah.
And I'm going to attach the question, good business or bad business?
Okay.
Going into this. In conjunction with Tesco Mobile for Business. So, looking at this, number one, after protracted negotiation, United, we mentioned this earlier on, close to finally agreeing a £77 million 5-year deal for Jadon Sancho from Dortmund.
Yep.
So, when you look at this, will he face similar issues getting into the team at Old Trafford like he has done with England? Will his arrival block, or will it help or hinder the progress of the likes of Mason Greenwood? Good business or bad business by United?
Well, the landscape at Man United is quite unique, as it is a lot for these ESL clubs that made a bit of Horlicks of the situation with their relationship with the fans. And of course, you've got the Glazers that have gone on pleading clemency from the fans and telling them that there's going to be a different landscape and that they're going to be investing and they're going to change the direction of the relationship between the club and the owners, and they're going to back the manager and so on and so forth. So it becomes a signing that has a different feeling about it. Of course, if you compare and contrast to where it was a year ago, then you could argue that it's good business because Manchester United have achieved a 30% discount on the basis of the fact that Dortmund wanted 110 million quid and are now prepared to accept 77 million quid.
Sure.
A player like Jadon Sancho, will have a resale value, will have an economic value in 5 years' time, and Man United will be able to control the destiny and get their money back if he's half decent, which he will be. But from the point of view, without getting into the business of trying to be overly imbued in the coaching side of things, I'm curious to see why Man United are prioritising Jadon Sancho when they've got a player like Mason Greenwood in their ranks that I'm a particular lover of, because I think he's an outstanding player, and I think he would have been a real fundamental success in the Euros for us if he hadn't have been injured. So I'm surprised that he becomes a priority, and I think it becomes part of the gambit I set up at the beginning of this soliloquy, which is United owners playing to the gallery. Obviously the manager wants him, but you look at it and think to yourself, well, is this a priority? Wouldn't a centre-forward be a more compelling proposition for Manchester United than another winger? But Jadon Sancho coming in at 77 million quid, as much as any bloody footballer's worth 77 million quid, is probably decent value in a marketplace where he's at age, he's going to get better, that you're going to get some resell on him, and that ultimately you're going to get a decent player. But to me, good business or bad business, it falls into the territory of Manchester United doing things the way Man United want to do things. And a player like Jadon Sancho being got for 30% less than Dortmund told us, they absolutely told us last year in no uncertain terms, there's not a parallel universe where this boy goes for less than 110 million quid.
That's right.
Well, that parallel universe arrived 12 months later. So you've got to say, in business terms, if you can turn around suggesting that £77 million being spent is good business, that falls probably into that category.
Yes, of good business.
Decent business.
I wasn't going to do it, but I'll move on. But I'll stick with United. Good business or bad business? He enters the final 12 months of his contract, and you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Should United stick or twist with Paul Pogba?
I don't think, and it's not because I'm overreaching, my grasp is exceeding my reach, but I don't think that Pogba has repaid the £90 million that Manchester United paid for him 5 years ago. Obviously, it looks, I can't find the details, that they've extended his contract once, because I don't think he signed a 6-year contract with him. So I'm assuming if he signed in 2016, there must have been one extension already. It's surprising that they've let it get to the last year stage. It's unsurprising when you've got what's his face, Mino Raiola, hanging around like a bad smell, waiting for an opportunity to perhaps move Pogba, because that's where he'll get his money from, and he certainly won't get as much money from renegotiating with Manchester United as he will get from moving him along. United are in a difficult situation because he's an outstanding player, we know this, but he hasn't been an outstanding player in frequency terms for Manchester United. So you're now in a situation where you either sell him at a discounted price because he's got a year to go, or you extend his contract with all the sort of chagrin of saying to a player that hasn't done it, by the way, the 300 grand a week you're getting now, we're going to pay you probably 500 grand a week as a reward for doing quite what you could have done.
They're talking about 400 grand.
I would think so, yeah. So from the point of view of if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sees him as part of the team and a fundamental part of the team, then of course you've got to re-sign him on a longer term contract, because all you're doing is suggesting this player is going to run the clock down. Someone's going to be able to give him 600 grand a week in a year's time because he's going to walk out of the door at Man United for free, and the transfer fee someone would have to pay for him will find its way into his salary. So the beneficiary of this situation is Pogba. The question is do United see him as a long-term player, or do they see him as someone that they might have to give a longer-term contract to get another season out of him, to be able to sell him next season with 2 years left on his contract, so they can still retain some value. It's a difficult one to answer that one, because I don't think Pogba has been good value, and I don't think upping Pogba's salary will be good value.
And they haven't helped themselves, Simon, letting it drift into the final 12 months of his deal.
I mean, Gary Neville and I converge and diverge in our opinions, but we converge on this one, that the Pogba situation and the dealing by Man United with Raiola is an incredibly difficult issue, and he should be cast into the long grass, because he's made things very difficult. He's laid out situations where he's been divisive. He's turned around and said things about Pogba before games. So I think the whole Pogba thing hasn't worked for Man United, and I don't see why, if the last 5 years have been pretty average, why signing him for another 2 or 3 years would be of any benefit, unless you're going to seek to maybe have one more go at getting a decent season out of him, because Solskjaer wants him and you've got to support your manager. And if it doesn't work, then you can out him and still retain some decent value. Because right now, United cannot sell this player for anything vaguely resembling the money that A, they paid for him, and B, will give any kind of return on him. So I don't know if it's good business or bad business. It's probably bad business.
You're erring on the bad here.
Well, it's bad business to be in a position where you just handed the reins to the agent. And we know what this agent is. You know, he's a blot on the landscape.
That's good. You know he listens every day.
Good.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.